This week on WestfordCAT News, the Select Board set a new safety policy for community gardeners. The coronavirus continued to occupy the Board of Health's discussions.
Like what about our town beaches? Some of the beaches in town. What is it? What's the restriction right now on that?
Assistant Superintendent Carrie Cleary reported on how the free lunch program continues while the schools remain closed until May 4th. Stay tuned. WestfordCAT News is next. Concerned that the community gardeners might be exposed to the coronavirus by touching water spigots or the latch on the gate, the Select Board set a few new policies on March 24th. Here's Chair Elizabeth Almeida with more.
Our first recommendation is that we postpone opening the garden for about a month. Typically, we like to open in late April. We are suggesting that we open in late May and give us a little more time as a community to see where this is going. And then the rest of the recommendations can be split into addressing two issues, one being the community aspect of the community garden, and that has always been very important to us, but we recognize that this year in particular, we'll have to do less of the community aspect of the garden. So related to that, we would cancel any community type of events such as our potluck, social events that we have in the garden. We typically like to have a kids play area, play garden, and just for the kids. We would eliminate that. We would eliminate our community pumpkin patch that we use to grow gifts for folks that volunteer to help out with the garden. So really eliminating any of the social aspects to the garden. And then the second set of changes have to do with shared equipment or anything where gardeners are touching the same spots. And so the biggest two being the garden gates. Everybody touches those on the way in and out, and so we'd like to find a solution that could use a foot or an elbow. And then the second one being the water spigots, which of course we use frequently. And so we're looking at maybe a pedal, something that can be operated with the foot. And then also related to that, we would leave the tool shed, the garden shed, locked for this year, so there'd be no shared watering cans or shared garden carts or garden tools. We would just ask all the gardeners to bring their own equipment for the garden. So we feel like those are the highlights of ways that we would like to be able to continue the garden, but to do so safely. The other aspect, which some of this, like everything else, we'll have to wait and see. The food donation program has been important for the gardeners and the food pantry. And at this point, we would say to cancel that. However, as this unfolds, if we can find a way to do so safely, we would certainly be open to that, and we could work with the Board of Health. That decision wouldn't have to be made immediately because the food donations wouldn't really start until late June or July. So we'd have a little more time to figure out if it's safe to proceed with that.
To watch the entire Select Board meeting, visit WestfordCAT.org. Among the many concerns on the minds of the Board of Health members lately is what to do about the town's beaches when the weather becomes warm enough to attract teens. Here's Chair Zach Cataldo at the March 24th meeting.
I always want to balance this with the normalcy part. And I know that being able to go for walks, being able to see your neighbors and say hello really does at least make you feel a little bit better. And so it was hard, doing the playgrounds was hard enough. I completely agree with the closing the playgrounds and so forth, but it was hard enough the other day when I went by and checked on some of them to see them closed. And it's just like this psychological thing. So if it's possible for us to monitor the beaches, maybe some signage that just reminds everyone to stay socially distant and to monitor it. I'm just hoping that before this is all said and done, that it won't become an issue, that the weather won't be that warm and that people are just basically using the beaches as places to just walk and look at the water.
To watch the entire Board of Health meeting, visit WestfordCAT.org. The school committee got an update from Assistant Superintendent Carrie Cleary on March 23rd. The members learned how the school department continues to provide free lunches daily to qualified students.
I would also like to just mention and thank Colleen Wallace, our food service director, and her amazing team who are putting themselves out there every day to provide lunch for some of the families in need. And it has been very successful. There was a lot of thoughtful planning in terms of logistically how the food is being prepped, how people will line up, keeping 6 feet away from one another, a single file line. Jim Antonelli was very helpful with identifying the side entrance, and you can see the picture on the screen that Avery just put up of the team. There's 5 staff on per day. The staff members, they come in their street clothes, they scrub in, so to speak, and that was provided. We seeked guidance from Jeff Stevens on what that scrub in process should look like. They change into their clean uniforms and shoes once they're inside. So on Thursday, which was the first day, we had 30 lunches served. On Friday, 22, and today there were 24 lunches served. Colleen's coordinating with principals to understand who may have transportation issues and then coming up with delivery options moving forward. Due to the stay-at-home advisory, we will have a shift in our process in that we'll be providing 1 week's worth of ingredients for folks who come in, and then they'll pick up a bag of the ingredients, and then they'll be making their own sandwiches at home for the rest of the week. And then that will repeat every Monday moving forward until the governor lifts the stay-at-home advisory.
To watch the entire school committee meeting, visit westfordcat.org. I'm Patty Stalker, and you're watching WestfordCAT News.